Hello and welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. You're watching WION The World and this is World Dene with me, Jyotsna Kumar. Let's begin with the headlines. Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif rejects notion of a nuclear exchange during the recent conflict with India, says his country's nuclear program is for peaceful activities and self-defense. At least 31 shot dead on their way to aid distribution site in Gaza. Israeli airstrikes kill at least 28 others in the Strip as ceasefire hangs in balance, with Israel and Hamas accusing each other of blocking attempts to strike a deal. Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi sets condition for nuclear talks with the U.S., says Tehran would only accept resumption of dialogue on the assurance that there will be no further attacks. U.S. President Donald Trump defends Attorney General Pam Bondi amid criticism from some in his base over her handling of Epstein investigation, says she's doing a fantastic job in her role. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky accuses Russia of attacking his country again after launching more than 620 drones and long-range missiles on Friday night, killing at least 6 people and wounding dozens others. North Korea's Kim Jong-un offers Russia his full support on the war in Ukraine during talks with the country's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov. Lavrov's visit to Pyongyang is the latest in a series of trips by top Moscow officials as the two countries deepen military and political ties. Spanish weather agency issues alert as heavy showers and flash floods strike several parts of the country. U.S. prices may have accelerated in June as firms pass rising import costs on to consumers linked to recent tariff hikes. JP Morgan warns this could drive inflation higher despite earlier signs of cooling. Iga Swiatek wins her maiden Wimbledon title in style. The former world #1 dishes out a double bagel to beat Amanda Anisimova to claim her 6th Grand Slam title. We begin with the Russia-Ukraine war. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has accused Russia of attacking his country again on Saturday after launching 339 Shahed drones on Friday alone. In his nightly address, Zelensky said that Russia launched 597 drones and 26 missiles, killing 2 people, wounding 20, and damaging civilian infrastructure from Kharkiv and Sumy in the northeast to Lviv and Lutsk, as well as Chernivtsi in the west. Ukrainian Air Force said its air defense units shot down 25 missiles and 319 Shahed drones and jammed 258 other drones with electronic warfare. Zelensky said he was continuing to seek support and nearing a multi-layered agreement on new Patriot missiles and systems.
We are doing everything to ensure Ukraine receives as many means to shoot down drones and missiles. We are nearing a multi-layered agreement on new Patriot systems and missiles for them. We are investing in our own production, especially of drones, including interceptor drones. We will continue active drone operations on Russian territory in response to their strikes. As always, we will act asymmetrically and effectively.
On the other hand, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un offered Moscow his full support on the war in Ukraine during talks with Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov. Lavrov's visit to North Korea is the latest in a series of high-profile trips by top Moscow officials as both the countries deepen military and political ties amid Moscow's offensive against Kyiv. Pyongyang sent thousands of troops to Russia's Kursk region to oust Ukrainian forces and provided the Russian army with artillery shells and missiles. Russia's foreign ministry posted a video on Telegram of the two men shaking hands and greeting each other with a hug, and said that the talks were held in Wonsan. North Korea's official KCNA news agency said Kim and Lavrov met in an atmosphere full of camaraderie trust. In other global news, Iran's foreign minister said on Saturday that his country will accept a resumption of nuclear talks with the U.S. if there were assurances of no more attacks against it. Abbas Araghchi, in a speech to Tehran-based foreign diplomats, said that Iran has always been ready and will be ready in the future for talks about its nuclear program. He said that assurance should be provided in case of resumption of talks that the trend will not lead to war.
We have always been ready for talks over our nuclear program and will be ready for them in future. But naturally, we must be assured that if negotiations are restarted, they will not result in war by the US or other countries.
Araghchi also referred to the 12-day Israeli bombardment of Iran's nuclear and military sites and the subsequent U.S. strike on June 22nd. Now, he said that there should be a firm guarantee that such actions will not be repeated. Araghchi further added that the attack on Iran's nuclear facilities had made it more difficult and complicated to achieve a solution based on negotiations. Speaking on the issue of UN nuclear watchdog, Araghchi said that under Iranian law, the country will answer the agency's request for cooperation case by case based on Iran's interests. He also said any inspection by the agency should be done based on Iran's security concerns as well as the safety of the inspectors. Iran suspended cooperation with the UN nuclear watchdog, which led to the departure of inspectors following the strikes.
All of our cooperations with the agency, from now on, will be managed through the Supreme National Security Council. Demands of the IAEA for continuation of its monitoring, for continuation of cooperation with Iran will be reviewed by the Supreme National Security Council, case by case, and should be done based on Iran's security concerns.
Araghchi went on to say that the danger of proliferation of radioactive materials is high, cautioning that the danger of explosion of ammunition that remained from the war is a serious one. He reiterated Iran's position on the need to continue enriching uranium on its soil. The U.S. President Donald Trump has insisted that this cannot happen. He also warned that a so-called snapback of UN sanctions can end Europe's role in the issue of Tehran's nuclear program, and that such measures would signify the end of Europe's role in the Iranian nuclear dossier. Meanwhile, Iran's Consul General to India, Mohsen Fard, has claimed that the targeted killing by Israel of the 16 scientists and researchers associated with Iran's nuclear program was made possible by systematic leaks and addresses provided by personnel of the International Atomic Energy Agency. Fard alleged that the IAEA, led by its Director General Rafael Grossi, had become a front of the U.S.-Israeli axis, deploying as many as 25% of its monitors for Iran's nuclear sites. He said that the IAEA remained silent while the Americans bombed Fordo, Natanz, and Isfahan nuclear sites on the 22nd of June, which was a violation of the IAEA code. Now, Israel claims that it acted because Tehran was within reach of nuclear weapon. U.S. intelligence agencies and International Atomic Energy Agency had assessed Iran and said that Iran last had an organized nuclear weapons program in 2003. Though Tehran had been enriching uranium up to 60%, a short technical step away from weapons-grade levels of 90%. Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian, in an interview, said that the U.S. airstrike so badly damaged his country's nuclear facilities that Iranian authorities still have not been able to access them to survey the destruction. Now, Houthis have launched multiple attacks on Israel-bound and European vessels this week. Yemen group has vowed to pressure Israel to hold its fire in Gaza, and it seems that the Houthis won't back down from their naval and aerial campaign. Now, our next report tells you why the Houthis are a big threat to Israel and its allies. Take a look.
All of you, don't worry. I confirm. Hurry, abandon the ship. How do you copy? Over.
National Security Advisor counterparts.
Houthis continue to target Israel. Alarm sirens across Israeli cities. Vessels in the Red Sea under threat. Houthis have begun what's being called the most lethal phase of their assault on Israel. Once a regional insurgency tucked away in the mountains of northern Yemen, the Houthis have emerged to become the next big threat, not just to Israel, but also its allies traversing through the $1 trillion cargo route. Shortly after Israel's war with Iran, Houthis struck Israel's Beersheba. The attack was symbolic. This was the same region near Tel Aviv, which was devastated by Iranian strikes recently. The US aircraft carrier Harry S. Truman had sighted and aimed to decimate Houthi capabilities via Operation Rider. Trump vowed any attack on US vessels in the Gulf of Aden and the Red Sea route won't be tolerated. Houthis responded with resolute resolve, claiming it shot down MQ-9 Reaper drones and downed American fighter jets. American fighter jets and missiles pounded hundreds of targets. And Trump declared victory over Houthis in May. But here is the catch. US's then National Security Advisor Mike Waltz signaled that Houthis possessed sophisticated air defenses, anti-shipping cruise missiles, drones, sea-skimming types of attack drones, and other ballistic missiles. Iranian Revolutionary Guards have halted their fire against Israel, but they might just be opening a new military depot in Yemen. Reports indicate Iran is moving the manufacturing and development of missiles and drones to Houthi-controlled areas, particularly in Sada, Hajar, and capital Sana'a. Yemen's information minister has clearly pointed out that Iran and Houthis, known as the extension of axis of resistance, are joined by the hip in its warfare venture. The rebel group based in Yemen has now wrapped the Arab nation in West Asia's volatility, one where its Hodeidah shipping port and capital can fall prey to potential strikes by Israel and its allies. The likelihood of Israel's next war might not be with its neighboring countries, Lebanon or Syria. It could begin from the mountains of Yemen, carried out on the wings of Iranian drones and intercepted over Israeli strikes.
Now, Syrian and Israeli officials met face-to-face in Baku on Saturday on the sidelines of a visit to Azerbaijan by President Ahmed al-Shara. Now, this is according to a diplomatic source in Damascus. Now, this meeting marked a major step for both Syria and Israel, which have been rivals for decades, and also comes after Israel initially snubbed Shara's administration as jihadist due to his past connection with al-Qaeda. The report said that the meeting focused on the recent Israeli military presence in Syria, and Shara himself was not part of the meeting. Syrian President Shara had traveled to Baku on Saturday, where he met Azerbaijani President Ilham Aliyev. Now, this is al-Shara's first visit to Azerbaijan, which in recent months has hosted talks between Israel and Turkey regarding Syria. Last month, Israeli Foreign Minister Gideon Sa'ar had said that Israel is keen to strike a peace and normalization agreement with Syria. And also after meeting Shara in Riyadh in May, U.S. President Donald Trump has said that he has hopes that Syria would join other Arab states which normalized their relations with Israel. Now, U.S. President Donald Trump has announced a 30% tariff on imports from the European Union and Mexico set to take effect on August 1st. Now, the move comes after weeks of stalled negotiations with key U.S. allies. Trump made the announcement in formal letters to EU Commission President Ursula von der Leyen and Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum. Now, these tariffs are part of a broader escalation. 23 countries, including Canada, Japan, Brazil, and South Korea, have received similar letters with tariff rates ranging from 20 to 50%. A separate 50% tariff on copper imports has also been announced, alongside existing duties of 50% on steel and aluminum and 25% on auto imports. Trump claims that the tariffs are necessary to reduce trade deficits and secure more favorable trade deals. The tariff threat has triggered swift and critical responses from allies. The European Union called 30% tariff unfair and disruptive, warning of retaliatory countermeasures if a resolution is not reached by August. Germany is urging a quick deal to protect its export-heavy economy, while France cautions against agreeing to U.S.-favored terms. Mexico, whose economy is tightly integrated with the U.S. importing over 80% of its goods north, called the move unjustified, especially as fentanyl trafficking was cited as a reason, despite higher seizures at the Mexican border. Well, so far, the U.S. has only reached early-stage trade frameworks with the UK, China, and Vietnam, despite promising new deals during a 90-day tariff pause in April. The economic fallout from Trump's renewed tariff push is beginning to show. The U.S. merchandise trade deficit with the EU stood at $235 billion in 2024, prompting the White House to demand zero tariffs from Europe. Now, according to the European Central Bank, a 20% U.S. tariff could lower Eurozone growth by 1 percentage point by 2027. The bank did model for a 30% rate. Customs duties revenue in the U.S. has already surpassed $100 billion this fiscal year. Financial markets are on an alert. Analysts expect pressure on the euro and Mexican peso, while some allies, including Japan and Canada, are rethinking their security dependence on the U.S. With just 3 weeks to go before August 1st deadline, trading partners are weighing whether Trump's moves are a hardline stance or a negotiating tactic aimed at final concessions. Now, the top two players in men's tennis, Jannik Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz, will square off with the Wimbledon title today. Now, Alcaraz will have the chance to win a third consecutive Wimbledon crown. The world number 2 reached the final after defeating Taylor Fritz in the semifinals. He comes into the final riding a career-best 24-match winning streak dating back to his title run in Rome. Alcaraz has won 33 of his past 34 matches. His opponent, Jannik Sinner, ended Novak Djokovic's bid for a record 25th Grand Slam title to book a spot in his maiden Wimbledon final. The Italian now has won his last 6 matches against Djokovic and looks to be in fine form. Sinner and Alcaraz have met just once before on grass at Wimbledon 2022, where Sinner prevailed in 4 sets in the 4th round. However, Alcaraz leads their overall head-to-head 8-4. Remember, this is also their 2nd consecutive Grand Slam final. Alcaraz defeated Sinner in the French Open final last month in what many considered one of the greatest tennis matches of all time. Now, that French Open loss remains Sinner's only defeat in a Grand Slam final, having won the other 3 he's contested. Meanwhile, Alcaraz is a perfect 5-0 in major finals.
Also, the surface is different, so it's he's the favorite. You know, he won here 2 times in a row, and he's again in the final. And it's very tough to beat him on grass. But you know, I like these challenges. I like to go head to head and trying to see what I can do and what I can reach.
I'm pretty sure he's gonna take a lot of things from French Open final. That he's gonna be better. He's gonna be better physically, better mentally. Just he's gonna be prepared on Sunday to give his 100%. So I'm not thinking that I'm or I have advances mentally, on Sunday because of that match.
Hollywood stars Pedro Pascal and Vanessa Kirby walked the red carpet in London for their upcoming The Fantastic Four First Steps. More about the star-studded event in our next story. Take a look.
It's about family, it's about caring for humankind, it's about, protecting human innocence and knowing that you can't do it alone. We can only do it together.